gorilla. It was at Berlin Zoo, don't ask, where I came face to thick glass with a gorilla. We stared each other out. Its eyes were smashed rage under a pelmet of wrath. Its nose, 2 boxing gloves. Its mouth, an unliftable curse. I wished it were free, down on the equatorial belt, chilling to Morrissey. With a day's more evolution, it could even be president. Mrs. Tiresias. All I know is this. He went out for his walk a man and came home female. Out the back gate with his stick, the dog, wearing his gardening trousers, an open-neck shirt, and a jacket in Harris tweed I patched at the elbows myself, whistling. He liked to hear the first cuckoo of spring, then write to the Times. I'd usually heard it days before him, but I never let on. I'd heard one that morning while he was asleep, just as I heard, at about 6 p.m, a faint sneer of thunder up in the woods and felt a sudden heat at the back of my knees. He was late getting back. I was brushing my hair at the mirror and running a bath when a face swam into view next to my own. The eyes were the same, but in the shocking V of the shirt were breasts. When he uttered my name in his woman's voice, I passed out. Life has to go on. I put it about that he was a twin. And this was his sister come down to live, while he himself was working abroad. And at first I tried to be kind, blow-drying his hair till he learned to do it himself, lending him clothes till he started to shop for his own, sisterly, holding his soft, new shape in my arms all night. Then he started his period. 1 week in bed. 2 doctors in. 3 painkillers 4 times a day. And later, a letter to the powers that be, demanding full paid menstrual leave 12 weeks per year. I see him still, his selfish, pale face peering at the moon through the bathroom window. "The curse," he said, "the curse. Don't kiss me in public," he snapped the next day. "I don't want folk getting the wrong idea." It got worse. After the split, I would glimpse him out and about, entering glitzy restaurants on the arms of powerful men, though I knew for sure there'd be nothing of that going on if he had his way, or on TV, telling the women out there how, as a woman himself, he knew how we felt. His flirt's smile. The one thing he never got right was the voice. Cling peach, slithering out from its tin. I gritted my teeth. "And this is my lover," I said, "the one time we met at a glittering ball under the lights among tinkling glass, and watched the way he stared at her violet eyes, at the blaze of her skin, at the slow caress of her hand on the back of my neck, and saw him picture her bite at the fruit of my lips, and hear my red, wet cry in the night. And she shook his hand, saying, "How do you do?" And I noticed then his hands, her hands, the clash of their sparkling rings and their painted nails. Mrs. Aesop. By Christ, he could bawl for purgatory. He was small, didn't prepossess, so he tried to impress. "Dead men, Mrs. Aesop," he'd say, "tell no tales." Well, let me tell you now that that bird in his hand shat on his sleeve. Never mind the two worth less in the bush. Tedious. Going out was worst. He'd stand at our gate, look, then leap. Scour the hedgerows for a shy mouse, the fields for a sly fox, the sky for one particular swallow that couldn't make a summer. The jackdaw, according to him, envied the eagle. Donkeys would, on the whole, prefer to be lions. On one appalling evening stroll, we passed an old hare snoozing in a ditch. He stopped and made a note. And then, about a mile further on, a tortoise, somebody's pet, creeping, slow as marriage up the road. Slow but certain, Mrs. Aesop wins the race. Asshole. What race? What sour grapes? What silk-pursed, sour-eared dog in a manger? What big fish? Some days I could barely keep awake as the story droned on towards the moral of itself. Action, Mrs. A, speaks louder than words. And that's another thing. The sex was diabolical. I gave him a fable one night about a little cock that wouldn't crow, a razor-sharp axe, with a heart blacker than the pot that called the kettle. "I'll cut off your tail, all right," I said, to save my face. That shut him up. I laughed last, longest. Mrs. Faust. First things first, I married Faust. We met as students, shacked up, split up, made up, hitched up, got a mortgage on a house, flourished academically, BA, MA, PhD, no kids, 2 toweled bathrobes, hers, his. We worked, we saved, we moved again, fast cars, a boat with sails, a second home in Wales, the latest toys, computers, smartphones. We prospered, moved again. Faust face? Clever, greedy, slightly mad. I was as bad. I grew to love the lifestyle, not the life. He grew to love the kudos, not the wife. He went to whores. I felt, not jealousy, but chronic irritation. I went to yoga, tai chi, feng shui, therapy, colonic irrigation. And Faust would boast, at dinner parties, of the cost of doing deals out east, then take his lust to the city in a cab, to say the least, lay the ghost, get lost, meet panthers, feast. He wanted more. I came home late one winter's evening, hadn't eaten. Faust was upstairs in his study in a meeting. I smelled cigar smoke, hellish, oddly sexy, not allowed. I heard Faust and the other laugh aloud. Next thing, the world, as Faust said, spread its legs. First, politics, safe seat, MP, right on, KG, then banks, offshore, abroad, then business, vice chairman, chairman, owner, lord. Enough Encore, Faust was cardinal, pope, knew more than God, flew faster than the speed of sound around the globe, lunch, walked on the moon, golfed, holed and won, to fat Havana on the sun. Then he backed a hunch, invested in smart bonds, in harms. Faust dealt in arms, he got in deep, got out, bought farms, cloned sheep. Faust surfed the internet for like-minded Bo Peep. As for me, I went my own sweet way, saw Rome in a day, spun gold from hay, had a facelift, had my breast enlarged, my buttocks tightened, went to China, Thailand, Africa, returned, enlightened, turned 40, celibate, teetotal, vegan, Buddhist, 41, went blonde, went redhead, went brunette, went native, went ape, went berserk, went bananas, went on the run alone, went home. Faust was in. A word, he said. I spent the night being pleasured by a virtual Helen of Troy, face that launched 1,000 ships, I kissed its lips. Thing is, I've made a pact with Mephistopheles, the devil's boy. He's on his way to take away what's owed, reap what I sowed. For all these years of gagging for it, going for it, rolling in it, I've sold my soul. But this, I heard a serpent's hiss, tasted evil, knew its smell, as scaly devil hands poked up, right through the terracotta Tuscan tiles at Faust's bare feet, and dragged him, oddly smirking, there and then, straight down to hell. Oh well. Faust left everything, the yacht, the several homes, the Learjet, the helipad, the loot, etc., the lot, to me, Sylvie. When I got ill, it hurt like hell. I bought a kidney with my credit card. Then I got well. I keep Faust's secret still. The clever, cunning, callous bastard didn't have a soul to sell. So this sonnet is called Liverpool. The cathedral bell tolled, could never tell, nor the liver birds, mute in their stone spell, or the Mersey, those seagulls wailed, cursed overhead, in no language for the slandered dead. Not the raw red throat of the cop keening, or the cop's words centred of meaning. Not the clock, slow hand-clapping the coroner's deadline, or the memo to Thatcher, or the tabloid headline. But fathers told of their daughters, the names of sons on the lips of their mothers were prayers, lost ones honoured for bitter years by orphan, cousin, wife. Not a matter of football, but of life. Over this great city, light after long dark. And truth, the sweet silver song of a lark. The human bee. I became a human bee at 12, when they gave me my small wand, my flask of pollen, and I walked with the other bees out to the orchards. I worked first in apples, climbed the ladder into the childless arms of a tree, and busied myself dipping and tickling, duping and tackling, tracing the petals' guidelines down to the stigma. Human, humming. I knew my lessons by heart. The ovary would become the fruit, the ovule the seed, fertilized by my golden touch, my Midas dust. I moved to lemons, head and shoulders lost in blossom, dawn till dusk, my delicate blessing. All must be docile, kind, unfraught for one fruit. Pomegranate, lychee, nectarine, peach, the rhymeless orange. And if an opening bud was out of range, I'd jump from my ladder onto a branch and reach. So that was my working life as a bee, till my eyesight blurred. My hand was a trembling bird in the leaves, the bones of my fingers thinner than wands. And when they retired me, I had my wine from the silent vines, and I'd know love, and I'd saved some money, but I could not fly, and I made no honey. Premonition. We first met when your last breath cooled in my palm like an egg. You dead, and a bird outside sang it was morning. I backed out of the room, feeling the flowers freshen and shine in my arms. The night before, we met again to unsay unbearable farewells, to see our eyes brighten with re-strung tears. Oh, I had my sudden wish, though I barely knew you, to stand at the door of your house, feeling my heartbeat calm as they carried you in, home, home and healing. Then, slow weeks, removing the wheelchair, the drugs, the oxygen mask and tank, the commode, the appointment cards, until it was summer again, and I saw you open the doors to the grace of your garden. Strange and beautiful to see the flowers close to their own premonitions, the grass sweeten and cool and green, where a bee swooned backwards out of a rose. There you were, a glass of lemony wine in each hand, walking towards me always, your magnolia tree marrying itself to the May air. How you talked, and how I listened, spellbound, humbled, daughterly, to your tall tales, your wise words, the joy of your accent, un-English, dancey, humorous, watching your ash hair flare and redden, the loving litany of who we had been, making me place my hands in your warm hands, younger than mine are now. Then time, only the moon, and the balm of dusk, and you, my mother.